it's hard to expose it because of the terms that they use. But when you start seeing the weird, they said they want to put cameras and they're going to have an eye in the sky in the downtown. And once I heard that, I said, you know what, that's it. I'm going to go hit this head on. And
And they end up, the homeowners have to pay for all these renters that are coming in. And that's the part that the homeowners aren't getting right yet. The fact that you can put in 3,000 families in the small town in a rental property. What is car tax versus what a homeowner has to pay? These renters are going to vote to increase the Board of Education budget, which is 2 times the amount of the town budget.
Yep.
When you split it, and it's not even half, it's 2/3 and 1/3.
Yes.
So, and who's paying that? The taxes are being paid by the homeowners.
Yep, there's a whole bunch of community services that the taxpayers are burdened with. There's, the potential in Bristol is 3,000 apartments. So you figure a couple thousand, 1,000 kids anyway, minimum, into the school system. You've got they want to expand to all-day kindergarten, which is all-day daycare. They have the daycare programs and the lunches and
The indoctrination.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you,
they're bringing Common Core on board at the same time. They're already asking kids, will you live in the downtown? Why or why not? And of course, they're recording this information. They want to know where to target this next school project to.
well, one of the ways from Columbia, the children in the schools is declining. They want to bring kids in. And they're going to bring it in using low-income housing. And if you look at Columbia, it has very little poor, quote-unquote poor, bunch of hardworking people. There's very little rich and very little poor, so we have a high average income. And they are going to bring the low-income kids in, and they're going to push it on your town by saying, well, you bring this in, and you're going to get more money in grants, in education cost-sharing grants. And so it's not going to cost your town anything. And they're going to use that logic because we get very little of the ECS grants because we don't have any poor people. But that's what they're going to use as their basis. Oh, well, it won't hurt your school system. And, it's not going to cost you anything more.
I'm still trying to get the answer to the question. Windsor schools, the grades prior to 2009 were good. They implemented something September of 2009 that affected June 2010 coming forward, and suddenly Windsor's a failing school system. And
Bristol too.
And
Snow
it's like,
days.
what? Well, no,
Snow days
this
last
is something, it wasn't snow days all those years. It's something curriculum-wise.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, that's what the superintendent of schools said it was because of snow days.
Yeah. Nobody wants to answer the actual
They
question.
won't even look at it. They
It was
will
in the
make,
paper
they
2
will
days ago.
make excuses for it. They will
Yep.
give you every excuse in the world. Oh, well, we're counting everybody, and the other schools don't count everybody, and they're gonna give you every rationalization in the world. But nobody will actually take a hard look at, okay, what happened? No one will look.
But the people know, especially with
Well,
the schools.
the parents are pulling their kids out, and they're going to magnet schools.
I'm homeschooling one of mine.
Homeschooling, awesome, yeah.
How many people homeschooled in this room?
My kids
I
are
want to when I
I
have kids.
homeschooled before the,
I don't know, but where we live, it's only a half a mile. And in a half a mile, we have 3 families that are and they're
On our street.
on our street. We have 3 families homeschooling the kids, and the parents are teachers that
Oh, that's
stop
great.
teaching and they're
You're
homeschooling.
lucky.
No.
Yeah, that's part of the program too, by the way, it's not only for low-income families to have a better place to live, but it's better schools too, and that's part of the way they push it. They feel that the inner city kids haven't had access to good schools, and it's unfair. They shouldn't be
You gotta
punished
ask
by the
themselves
community
why.
that they live in.
In order to start by asking themselves why they have poor schools in the bad neighborhoods. That would be a big start, just ask,
Well, just-
why are all the failing cities Who runs all the failing cities? Who runs all the failing schools?
Well, one of the connections with this Agenda 21 stuff and how it affects your political environment in your town, I'm seeing this all over, but over in Massachusetts, South Shore, it's prevalent, is you have housing authorities that are growing quickly. They're coming online in towns and they're growing in their size and scope. And what's happening is that they're getting these low-income housing units to come in. They're getting the funding, they're up and full in no time, and they immediately begin lobbying the town fathers to put a polling precinct in the project. And if they don't, they're denying those people voter access. And I'll tell you now that the political demography of your town, the geographical breakdown, is profoundly changing right now. You're going to get to a point where the number of low income in this stack 'em and pack 'em smart growth cube will outnumber the business owners that are voting in that district. And you will never again see a balanced budget, and you will never see them not vote themselves more of your money. It is happening all over. Entire regions are changing from a political perspective. So there's a whole political undertow to a lot of this too.
They're socially
Detroit.
Really progressive
engineering
left,
your-
it's, you know.
I'm wondering where these planning committees get their authority to go outside the
We
local
give it to
government. They're elected to manage local government. And it seems to me anything that goes outside that should be a ballot issue.
If the town contracted with your regional planners or council of governments, then someone on the planning board usually is a liaison to the committee. But if your town doesn't belong to that, they wouldn't necessarily be a member of that. And the council of government, that's just another whole, the regional planners are unique in that they don't adhere to any boundaries of any kind. In fact, we're doing business with Connecticut, you know, so there's no states' rights there either. The councils of governments, they adhere to county boundaries, but many of the things they do are the same. You read your average contract with a council of governments, and I was able to keep one out of my town 2 years running by just reminding them that they have the ability to, I don't want to get the wording of this exact, generate debt based on projected revenues.